Hello, dear friends. I was looking for the news of the day and I found several clues of great updated information. It seems that the quantum financial system is on the verge of candy because the fruit is ripe and about to fall under its own weight. Opinion piece. Quantum system is knocking on the door. It has been operating in parallel for 2 years. It doesn't use artificial intelligence but natural intelligence. The system is housed in 9 artificial satellites. It was created to avoid the corruption of the old system. If the system collapses, we will move to the quantum system. Aims to put an end to financial slavery. It has no need for blockchain technology. There will be no fanfare or public announcements when it goes. Quantum computer will be used as the new internet. All computing devices will become obsolete. There will be no need for an internet service provider. This quantum computer will facilitate intergalactic commerce. This technology initiates our entry into a galactic society. The largest investment fund talks of a financial bubble. Corporate assets are now highly overvalued. Most crises were borne out on an economic bubble. Silver is the poor man's gold, according to an old adage. The global silver movement will be epic, according to experts. Silver myths will have a lot of power when we reach 1 million. Quantum economics narrows the gap between the elite and the workers, which are most of us. Let's start. According to the banking portal deutscheskonto.org, the quantum financial system is knocking on the door right now. The new economic system must serve the people and the environment and be appropriate for the region in which it's used. It must be based on real values. We need the spiritual philosophy of the past together with the scientific knowledge and technology of tomorrow. The title for the new version with which we can exchange our financial values in the future is called Quantum Financial System, QFS. It consists of a very sophisticated computation housed in 9 artificial satellites that cannot be manipulated. The QFS is completely independent of the existing centralized system and renders all other transfer systems obsolete due to its advanced capabilities. This system has no need for blockchain technology, which calls into question the need for cryptocurrencies without active asset backing. To connect the QFS with the SWIFT and ZIP system, an interface called DTL, Distributed Ledger Technology, has been implemented. One of its main features is that bankers cannot access any of these funds without the permission of the global collateral account supervisors. The aim of the system is to replace central banking and to cover the new global network for the transfer of gold or asset-backed money and precious metals, as well as to replace the obsolete SWIFT system. End of slavery. The new system was invented to end financial slavery and control over the population. This sounds like balm on the skin for distressed bank customers. No cost account management, no cost worldwide payments, no interest, and immediate transaction outputs around the world in real time. A key benefit of the QFS is to protect all parties from corruption, usury, and manipulation within the banking system and to ensure that banks are monitored and protected with respect to the agreed contract of the funds transfer process. The coalition will use a specific quantitative formula to establish the amount of currency available in each country in proportion to its available active assets. Apparently, The quantum financial system has been operating simultaneously in the background for some time now, which has prevented attempts to steal funds and is ready for use at any time if the old system collapses. Thanks to global digitization, all accounts and all money flows are known, fairer and more equitable. With this system, all sovereign currencies are backed by active assets and precious metals, which guarantees their sustainability. It also assigns a digital number to each currency held in every bank account around the world and monitors in real time to know exactly where it is at any given moment. According to Diego Arango, the virtual currency, which is speculative and a little known and strange quantum financial system, appear as possible successors, and it is possible that one of the two will prevail on the other. Will come. But what it is certain is that very soon the current financial system will collapse in the face of the economic contraction. The possible recession that is coming, the global restrictions due to the health crisis, the bankruptcy of tourism, the impact of trade and the non-payment of debts by the consumer. So the world will have to make a turn in the financial system, making it fairer and more equitable. Quantum economics. Quantum economics is an emerging field of research that applies methods and ideas from quantum physics to the field of economics. It is motivated by the belief that economic processes such as financial transactions have much in common with quantum processes and can be adequately modeled using quantum formalism. It is based on techniques from the related areas of quantum finance and quantum cognition, and it is a subfield of quantum social science. Neoclassical economics is based on expected utility theory, which combines utility theory to model people's preferences and probability theory to model expectations that are uncertain. However, the field of quantum cognition challenges these assumptions, since people do not necessarily have fixed preferences, nor do they base their decisions on probability theory. Many of the findings of behavioral economics are inconsistent with classical logic, but are consistent with quantum decision theory in quantum social science. Neoclassical economics assumes that people act independently when making economic decisions. Quantum economics points out that financial actors are part of an intertwined system, as in the quantum game theory. Quantum economics also stresses the importance of financial transactions and, in particular, the role of money as an active force in the economy, for example, in the way it entangles debtors and creditors throughout loans. Thus, quantum economics can be seen as an alternative to neoclassical economics that starts with a different set of principles. In quantum economics, we reduce our consumption, reuse our physical goods, and rethink our business models. We build new global institutions, radically redefine how we educate our children, and find ways to address the gap between the technocratic elite and the working class. In quantum economy, linear explanatory patterns, finite models, and rigid hierarchies don't longer work. Instead, new connections and interdependencies constantly emerge. The world is not rational, and neither is the economy. In the new quantum paradigm, it's no longer about one or the other. It's about both. And it is not about winning or losing, but about playing for as long as possible. Transition from old to new. The QFS is alive and doing its job, but it is not yet active with our accounts. How are you going to transition to the old to the new? This is a good question. The QFS must be active when the currency reset takes place, because all reset and redemption funds will be placed in the QFS as gold backing coins in the currency of the nation where it takes place. This will be the global financial reset that all countries will go through when the funds are released. There will be no fanfare or public announcements when the QFS is activated. There are people in the financial industry who will know or suspect that the QFS has been put in place, but there will be very little indication that it has been 100% implemented. The coalition wants it to be seamless and quiet. Obviously, a customer can ask questions about why their account was not charged for a fee, but the teller can simply say, "We don't do that anymore." When the QFS has been activated, there will be no fees for any financial services. The customer will simply put a smile on his face and walk away wondering how the bank will make money in the future. That will be the question on many customers' minds. Really, it's the end of an era of financial manipulation by bankers. To make money on other people's money, QFS is free, secure and ultra-fast. Backed by gold. Chinese elders have been accumulating gold for hundreds of years. Some of their gold was loaned to the central banking system so they could finance the reconstruction of Europe after the World War I and II. By the way, they never paid it back, but used it to start their financial empire in order to enslave mankind. The elders have hidden caves of gold, and now they are using it to back the currencies in the QFS for all the countries of the world. It's important to understand that the QFS and the money they are about to release is new currency. It was designed by the coalition to fund a new financial system that will restore all the world's currencies to the new gold-backed currencies. An electronic digital gold certificate will be the vehicle used to back the currency. Each kilo of gold stored by the elders has an identifying serial number. That means that each kilo is identified and can be used to back a certain amount of money. Each increment of funds will receive a digital gold certificate which refers to the specific kilo of gold volume that has been set aside and identified to back that specific increment of currency. The gold certification process will be valid for all currencies of all countries in the world. Oversight of banks. Those involved in the use of this quantum computer have learned to connect to the archaic computer system of the central banking system throughout the SWIFT transfer protocol used by the central banks. The QFS has obtained information on every bank account in every bank in the world that is linked to SWIFT. With this information, the QFS integrated into the SWIFT transfer system and programmed it so that each transfer is channeled through the QFS to record the data for each transfer. The data is then inserted back into the SWIFT system to complete the transfer to the desired bank account. With this recording capability, all transfers have been recorded through the SWIFT system. All of this information is hidden, and the activity and its data information is not available to any banker or their technicians. Often, in the last couple of years, a banker has tried unsuccessfully to redirect funds to hold them in some account somewhere, so that they could be transacted overnight, only to discover that the funds have already been successfully transferred to the receiving account within moments of the transfer being initiated. Imagine the frustration of the banker who attempts to steal funds and finds the police knocking on his door with a warrant for his arrest. Imagine the politician who receives a bribe from a country receiving foreign aid and discovers that this money has been transferred to an account that will hold the funds for law enforcement to investigate their origin. The QFS knows where the illicit money came from and where it is. It's not terrestrial. The quantum financial system is a megalithic financial structure that the heavens have given humankind. I call it a megalithic because it's the most advanced computer system anyone can imagine. The technology is unmatched on Earth today. It's magnificent because it's the only computer that can take on the magnitude of accounting needed for every financial transaction in the world in real time. Excuse me. This type of amazing technology was developed and created in the realms of the fifth dimension as a remedy for the Babylonian-type central banking system that has plagued humankind. With help of an advanced being, the system protects itself in the third dimension as a living being with its own natural, non-artificial intelligence. The system doesn't use artificial intelligence to any degree. Artificial intelligence is a creation of the third dimension to use to mimic the real intelligence that exists in the higher realms, but it cannot replace the real intelligence that exists in the higher realms. Real intelligence comes in the form of a sentient spiritual being, and when integrated into a creation, it fulfills the exact intent without deviation. For us on Earth, it's a completely new technology never before used, designed for this, the dispensation of the fullness of time. It was created for us to do our humanitarian work and to prevent the corruption of the system. New Internet. Eventually, the quantum computer will be used as the new Internet, with all other computers acting simply as portals with connection to quality control throughout application using personal identification numbers. There will be no more need for an Internet service provider. All other computer storage devices will become obsolete, as it becomes the main computer with applications all over the world for anyone to use for free. Everything in this computer is in benevolent harmony with the higher realms of creation, and is a gift from God, as the new financial system for the future of mankind. With some adjustments by the human being, it can act as a storehouse to support barter transactions that can eliminate money altogether, because it would not be needed in abundance for everyone. This quantum computer is ready to be integrated into a galactic wide web system that will facilitate intergalactic trade. That system will act as a chain of warehouses located on planets containing commodities for exchange, making it a galactic internet for trade that uses interstellar anti-gravity transporters as fulfillment vehicles. This quantum computer initiates our entry into a galactic society that converts terrestrial citizens into galactic humans. In addition, advanced technology vehicles will be created that will take us into the era of intergalactic travel and space commerce like in science fiction movies. New bubble. That's another question. The world's largest investment fund warns of a new bubble. The market for socially responsible investments may soon face a collapse, although it has great long-term potential, believes Nicolai Tangen, head of the Norwegian Sovereign Wealth Fund, the world's largest pension fund. For the CEO of the 1.3 trillion fund, there are some obvious parallels between the current market for the sustainable assets and technology stocks, just before the dot-com bubble burst, related to internet-related companies. He indicated that the assets of companies that meet environmental, social and governance standards are highly overvalued, The green finance market will be at least 1 trillion this year, according to SEBAB, the Swedish bank behind the world's first green bond more than a decade ago. The situation resembles the dot-com bubble that occurred in the second half of the 1990s as a result of the implosion of internet company stocks. Tangen noted, back then, soaring prices for online companies led to a massive market crash. Last year, governments, companies and other groups raised a record of 490 billion selling green, social and sustainability bonds. Another 347 billion went into socially and environmentally focused mutual funds, an all-time high, and more than 700 new funds were launched worldwide to capture the flood or inflows, according to the researchers at Morningstar Inc. Definition: an economic bubble is a situation in which there is a runaway and uncontrolled increase in the price of a commodity, detaching it from its fair value. An economic bubble usually has as its main origin the phenomenon of speculation, giving rise to cycles that usually end with euphoria. Thus, high rates are recorded with a subsequent loss of confidence. Many markets are susceptible to a bubble. We have observed this, for example, in real estate, company shares, or technology products, as in the dot-com crisis. However, the analysis of a bubble often shares similarities regardless of the field we are talking about. One characteristic of a bubble is a prolonged and unchecked rise in prices. In addition, there is a belief that the situation will not change and that the price will rise indefinitely. At the same time, those involved in an economic bubble tend to discredit those who try to uncover it and consider them to be spoilers. The vast majority of crises have been triggered by an economic bubble and, as a consequence, a recession. These economic bubbles have been caused by rational human psychology, such as the pure conviction that prices or the good that is suffering the bubble will continue to rise ad infinitum. Silver revolution. But what about silver? Isn't there a saying that silver is the poor man's gold? In order to really go back a bit to the old system, it would be important to buy physical silver. This means silver in the form of coins or bullion. There are many certified online stores that sell silver for investment and ship it safely to a desired address. The silver movement will be epic. A couple of months or years down the road, people will look back and say how this all started. About 20,000 like-minded guys got tired of the manipulation and started doing something the banks had no defense for: buying physical. We choose to play the game on our turf and theirs. It's a matter of days or months when this community reaches over 1 million people, and imagine the power when all these guys start buying. And that's all for today. Thanks a lot, dear friend, and be happy.